Welcome to a new spirit that will warm your heart. Welcome to a new spirit. Every day's a brand new start. Where encouraging words can heal your soul and dreams will be renewed. Welcome to a new spirit, a new spirit in you.
Ego, easing God out. Welcome to the New Spirit radio show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date, at least we're all agreeing, it's December 7th of 2022. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and MIT Catherine Taylor, and something else in the way over there too. Playing audio
Spiritual
segments
advisor, Floofy.
we call messages from spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
These segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. So for new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. And we think of our bodies being similar to a car, where one driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Ramen, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Ramen shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, MIT Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley.
Hello.
Hey,
Nice to
how'd
see
it
you.
go? Nice to see you.
And we have my spiritual advisor came by. A little familiar, little totem buddy.
Instead of a
Floofy.
what is it? A support animal? It's a spiritual advisor. All right.
He advises me to be less anxious and to just have fun.
You know, I don't
Very
think
spiritual.
I don't think dogs are support animals when you see them walking down the mall and they turn to each other and start barking at each other.
Oh no.
That's not a support animal.
Stressful. That's funny.
Anyway, okay, so we're on and active. I see us going, but I don't. Well, I hope everybody can hear us too. We've got some people on and watching. I trust. So good.
Yes.
Man, I'm just like sort of out of sorts at the moment, just because of we're sometimes it's technically challenged at the beginning. Plus, okay, who watched the video, the intro video? I know they're entertaining to watch. So who watched the intro video?
Oh.
Anybody notice anything different about it? I hope not, because it's a subtle point. Remember it was pointed out that Raheem had a pillow and Francine didn't in the intro. Well, I finally uploaded a new version of the intro video. So
that's funny.
Francine now has her pillow.
Francine has her pillow. Yeah. Perfect. Now she's comfortable.
Let's see. So a quick outline for those of you that are new to listening in. We love to share. We start out by showing how did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy last week. And while I'm running through these announcements, for those of you that are listening, feel free to post how you used it, because we love to share, and that helps others as well. Then I move on to some announcements. We talk about special prayers and a moment of silence. We share the trance segments and enjoy each other's comments about it. What do we do? Oh, we provide a meditation for those that want to participate. I have closing notes, and then hang out and participate in the special prayer ceremony we call a novena. I'll explain about that when we start that. I talk about some appreciation, and we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia. Next in line is
Candle. Nice.
there we go. And yes, we do try and play ASMR games. Yeah. Or sometimes it makes the hair curl up on the back of your neck, one or the other.
Something.
Yeah. Well, it's all about getting some kind of reaction, so.
It's true. Oh, man.
Let's see. So, yeah, we are into how did you use Novus philosophy? So, do you want to
Yes.
start? Do you want to point a finger? Do you want to do rock, scissors, paper?
Sure. We haven't done rock, scissors, paper in a while, but before we get into ours, just as a reminder to everyone who is tuning in, we would love to hear your stories of what you used of spirituality and Novus philosophy over the past week. And we will read your stories. Okay. Rock, scissors, paper.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Rock, scissors, paper. You win.
Okay, I'm gonna pick you.
Oh, pick me. Pick me.
You.
Pick me. Pick me.
Yes. Go Tom.
Let's see. I have been back to emotion and cementing our emotion and intellect, and I've mentioned several times. Francine in the past told me I've got the cart in front of the horse, and I'm still working at emotion is the mover, and how do I get that the horse in front of the cart? And visualizing has been a challenge for me. One, I need to. I think everything else is more important, and I'm starting to think, wait a minute, that's not the right way to think. Also, what was the one? In your weakness, there lies your strength sleeping. Well, hello. So yes, I've been challenged as to how to wake that up. Reminders of I gotta visualize more often and make it more important to me. I'm not, part of it is probably insecurity, where everything else is important besides me. But
sure.
It's I'm if I was to mark it on, have a marker on the calendar, it'd be kind of empty, as far as when I do it. So, stopping and visualizing. Plus, it's interesting how when I do stop to think and visualize, it kind of seems like my mind is pretty noisy, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what the exact cause source is, but it seems kind of visually noisy when I want to stop. So I may need to stop a little more, as it were.
Yes.
Slow down a little more before I work on the visualizing. Now, someone did bring up. So I subscribe to a coaching call program for real estate, and there was an interesting pointer brought up about visualizing, asking a question if you're how to accomplish things. It was it wasn't, because I've been stopping to say, okay, I want to visualize myself doing this, and the key point, the verbiage the person used was asking yourself the question, do you see yourself doing those things? And I was like, oh my God, that's one of the things that really triggers the mind, is when you ask it a question in a conversation and you're, helping others, asking questions really stimulates, some kind of response. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So yeah,
That's
I've
cool.
been asking more often of, do I see myself, doing these things? Do I see myself accomplishing these things? The other question that went with it is, what am I going to do to, make that happen? So yeah, that's my Novus philosophy.
That is great. I'm so happy to hear about your journey with this. It's fascinating, and I'm excited for you. I think that's a really good point to ask yourself, do you see yourself even accomplishing this thing? Because if you don't believe in yourself, it's like it's just a million times harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool point of how to stimulate your own mind, and just saying, instead of, oh, am I see myself doing, it's saying, do I see myself?
Yeah, that's cool. All right, shall I read some of our comments?
Well, are you going to do yours?
Yes. Okay, I'll do mine. So I got really excited. I love listening to everyone's stories. Okay, so my own, I too have been continuing on my own exploration of this meditative practice of loving God back, and just like meditating on what that feels like. And so just the more that I do that and wonder about, like, what is the nature that I have of the things that God gave me, and what is it, like, all of the wondrous things that God is out into the whole vast wide universe. It's just has continued to fill me with positivity, and has continued to mellow me out and to help me be less angry towards people. And so I've just been on this journey. And one thing that I explored in my prayers, I just tried asking. It said, like, divas of the house, and divas are the the spirits of objects, the plants and whatnot. I was like, let us, join me on this adventure of also loving God too. And I just felt this rush of positivity throughout the whole house. That was so wonderful.
Fun. Okay.
It was really interesting. I don't know if it was just me becoming aware of what was already there, or if it was a change of some sort. I don't know what it was, but it just that's just where I'm at on this very, very internal adventure that is changing me in ways that I really, really like and appreciate. And I'm so much. I'm even noticing that I'm tolerating difficult subjects, difficult conversations where I have shied away from in the past, being like, this is too sore for me, I don't want to talk about this. I've been able to even tolerate those a lot easier now too, which is really interesting. So it's healing. Just as
fun.
Yeah.
So calling on the energy of the what's around you, and it would seem like amplifies what you're wanting to accomplish.
Yeah. Exactly. I guess I'll just share a couple more thoughts on this. Sylvia has said that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening to God. So I've had that in mind too, to really make space to say, like, all right, whatever I put out comes back. And we were told at one point this year in a trance that the concept of grace itself is when you love God, it's what comes back that naturally splashes back at you. And so it's like just this practice of, like, taking some time out of my day to just meditate on God, like express my gratitude, my thanks, my love for creating me to be able to exist in the first place. That's like, hey man, thanks. That's kind of nice. But whatever splashes back, that's grace, and that's really cool. So it's just something I'm exploring, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty groovy, baby.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So putting out and feeling the warmth return, energy, or acknowledgement maybe of we get you, we got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's changing my daily life in positive ways. So just gonna keep on keeping on that.
Cool. All right.
So now I would love to read everyone's comments that what you used of Novus philosophy. So Ramona shares first. I've been taking note of how many prayers have come to life. That is wonderful because you can see that validation right in front of you. Melissa shares, this week I had to remind myself that I am only human and I am going to be tempted and fail at resisting. Yeah, it happens. But I am not a bad person because of it, and it made me feel better to think that of myself. Absolutely. Jesus said, even the best of men falls like 9 times a day.
27.
20. We all
I think it was 7.
mess up.
Oh, well.
And we just call the puppy out of the trash can. Just come on back. Just come on back and we reset. It's good for you. You are a very good person. I know you. You're a very good person. Naomi says, a few days ago, I tripped and rolled my front foot and toes, all cracked and hurt. Ow. I immediately held my foot and prayed for angels, green wand of healing, and visualized green light on my foot and blue light on my head to calm down. Immediately, I calmed down and relaxed, and my foot pain subsided. I prayed for healing and not having anything broken, and it worked. 1 day of limping, second day, all good. Woohoo! Fantastic.
Good for you. Wow.
Good for you. Good for you. Josh, welcome. Hi, Josh. This is your first time listening. High five. It's awesome. Josh shares, I had a bad day and talked with Gelsey. Gelsey is a name that I go by. It's a nickname because my mantra, my soul tone, because when we talked about soul tones, like everyone has like a couple syllables.
Yeah.
My syllables are Ga Li, and so I have a nickname in that's Gelsey. That's super close, and it feels like it's a very very comfortable name because it's so close to my soul tone. So Gelsey is a name that I go by sometimes. I had a bad day and talked with Gelsey as I know her and learned about this channel and all about the philosophies that lined up with my own. Really has helped me. So I guess that's one way of using it. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you're here. We can nerd out together about interesting things. And then Gibson is here. Hello. Hello, everyone. Computer issues tonight. Gibson, I thought of you because I burned my hand in the kitchen earlier and I yelled, no, I'm not going to have it burnt. No, stop it. And I was like, Gibson's going to laugh at this. And then 15 minutes later, I was fine.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, man. Too good. All right. So that's it for our comments. Maybe we can... What's next? Announcements?
Well, my old joke is next used to be a defunct computer manufacturer in Fremont. Anyway, That's another. That was back in the .com days, just around the .com days. Steve Jobs started after he had left Apple. He started another personal computer company called Next. And where I was employed at the time, we were building automation equipment for that company. So that's where that
cool
humor comes from. Let's see. Announcements. So real quick, where am I hiding those? Yes, please share, promote, like, subscribe, click on the bell, donate when you can. You can go to the website and donate, novus.org. And then, whichever format you're watching us on, live or in the on demand, share, promote, like, subscribe, make these suggestions to other people so that they get a chance to hear and see if this works for them. Let's see, upcoming our holidays. I'm sure everybody's, time challenged with the holidays coming up, getting prepared prepared for whichever, if you're hosting or visiting. So we had just recently decided we're gonna have the next 2 Wednesday shows. So the 14th and the 21st, we will should be on, provided there's nothing challenging that pops up. But we'll plan to be on for the 14th and the 21st, but we will not have a show on the 28th, 12/28, so right between the 2 holidays. So at this time, well, I'll start by saying happy holidays and happy New Year, but we can also replay that again on the 21st. Let's see. Oh, so I had the spoiler alert earlier. There was about Francine had no pillow. And a real quick note for those of you that are new. So back in when we were doing trances, Francine, so as we described, Sylvia literally dies. The entity, what we know of as knew of as Sylvia, would die, and the physical body is there, and Francine's essence would enter it and animate and talk with us. So we get a mild picture of that, or just a simple picture at this time. And on occasion, Raheem would come in. Well, when Francine would come and talk to us, Francine wanted a pillow on her abdomen to help alleviate the pain of coming back, because Francine's life, she had soul memory coming back, and had the pain of when she was speared in her lifetime. So we've talked a little bit about it, and we'll probably talk about it again later. But in her one life, she was speared, and coming back into the physical body, just as we do. We bring with us these past experiences. And in her case, she got speared in that. And so that affects her, and the pillow helps. Whereas Raheem comes back and is very animated. He will sit up and talk and use his hands and, converse with us, and doesn't use a pillow. So someone one of the Reverend Ellen Schloss made the fun point that I had made a mistake of swapping the two images up there with the because they're still using Sylvia's body, and it just so happened Francine uses a pillow. So that's my 2 cents worth. We should be good to go forward from here. Where are we? Cool. I don't have anything else. If anybody's got something special they want to share, we're open to suggestions and ideas. Otherwise, now it's time for special prayers. So if you if you have a need, what you feel is needed, visualize it. Visualize the outcome. Get that energy out. And let's take a moment. If you've got a special prayer you'd like to post on the website, look for the prayer chain. You can always post there. And otherwise, we're putting energy in. It doesn't matter if you're listening live or on demand. It doesn't matter. There's no time on the other side, so we're asking the other side to get their job done and help us out as best they can. So we always ask for the greater good. So let's take a moment. We're going to put a moment of silence, and we're going to ask Mother God, the archetypes, the archangels, and whoever else can help us out, put energy out to whatever our needs are and wants or wishes that we think would be helpful for ourselves or others. So we'll take a moment. Okay, I'm in. And of course, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. What is next? How do we do that? Oh, we're doing pretty good with that, I think. If you are streaming challenged and you'd like to listen in while we are live, we have a conference call phone number we're happy to share with you. That number is 888-534-2696. So you can listen live on the phone and get the audio of this of our program while we're live. Of course, I appreciate that you keep muted so that everybody has a helpful, wonderful session. Or what do we call these things? Programs? And anyway, I don't have a definitive term for that. Anyway, trance segments.
All right. Trance segments. So we are continuing on from last week with Francine, talking about spirit guides and answering a variety of questions. So here we go. Family almost never become spirit guides, but they can join to protect us. Spirit guides try to control the environment around us, but never our own lives. using righteous anger in a healthy way. Andromedans don't look that different from us. And Pleiades and Nebulan extraterrestrials look very different, however. So we're going to listen to that and get some interesting information about extraterrestrials.
Cool. All right. Take notes.
All right.
Here we go.
Now, after entities die in your lifetime, then they come around you as protective entities, as visiting protectorates. But they're not the guides. No. Some people are always saying it's my grandmother, it's my mother. No. No, it isn't. The grandmother, the mother, the grandfather, the great-grandfather might be there, but very rarely do we ever see that it's the same family or some ancestor.
Well, it seems like it's just such a terrific job that they do.
Oh, it is a terrible job. I know I'm one.
Well, you're in a position
You're the best.
all by yourself. Yeah, way up there.
It's tough.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
With multiple guides, how does that work? You have a main guide that then the others are learning?
I hate the word, but they call us controls. But I hate that word because it sounds like we're controlling the life of the person. We're not. What we're doing is trying to control the atmosphere around them. That's why they call us controls. Yeah, there's one main control and subsidiary guides from that point on. Certainly not in elegance or eloquence or anything else. But I was assigned to Sylvia. Everyone that hopped on later was a subsidiary guide.
And they're at that position to observe more and learn more rather than to be active.
Yes.
Francine, can I ask you about righteous anger? Because, I'm trying to utilize righteous anger without getting myself into trouble because, I'm very emotional and try not to wear my feelings on my sleeve or my heart on my sleeve. How do we utilize righteous anger and make it work with our intellectual side so that it benefits us?
Well, when a wrong is done, you get angry and you go straight and confront the issue and then be done with it. Otherwise, you'll swelter in it. I don't think it's a matter of is there one universal right. There are some. But sometimes, if you're really working out of pure motive, and you must make sure that that's it, and someone hurt someone you love, or yourself, or whatever it may be, or there's an injustice done, you have every right to confront the issue and be righteously angry. That's where we're seeing so much sickness. People are burying that. So, question your motive first. What will I accomplish by this righteous anger? Maybe the answer will come back just to ventilate. That's good enough. Maybe to get the person to realize they can't do this to everyone. That's also enough. To make the person see. But to walk around and be a namby-pamby is not what Christianity is truly about.
You are Aztec, an Aztec or
Yes, Inca Aztec.
Okay, but your name wasn't Francine then.
It was Aina.
Aina?
Aina.
Okay. How did you get the name of Francine?
Sylvia couldn't say my name. As a little girl.
In life, your name was Aina?
Aina. That's what I went by in my life.
Oh, because I know that's your name on the other side, but I didn't know that's...
Oh no, that's where I got the name. I only had one life. Yes.
Francine, as a guide, when your responsibility, of course, is you know the script of the entity that you're with, whether it be you with Sylvia or...
I don't know her script. That's a tragedy. She's an example entity. Go ahead.
Okay, so that for every example entity, there is no script.
So no script.
A wing and a prayer.
It's a wing and a prayer.
Okay, so let's say we're not an example. This is not an example life for a person, and the guide sees their person going through, let's say, bumping into darkness, entities, and all that. As a guide, I know us down here as we struggle and go along and try to guess as best we can what's the best situation, knowing all along we have to perfect through the darkness in order to make it. How then does a guide deal with that? And I know that you infuse us so much, but how does a guide help steer you away from, let's say, a relationship maybe that you may be getting to have with a dark entity, or a child of the lie, something?
We can try to almost. You see, the one thing that we can do, I'm glad you brought this up, is we can almost be very sly enough to coerce the dark to show their hands. Because they're so stupid. So we've actually taken on the devil's advocate, as you might say, and also coerced them into. You'll hear people saying, I finally got off drugs because. I finally saw him in the light because. The because many times is a guide needling them or backing them into a wall, so to speak.
I see. And out of all of us, is there many of us that have example lives, or is that not so
A
often?
lot of you. A lot of you have example lives.
So then that makes it a little tougher going.
Terrible.
And then when
A lot of Gnostics have example lives because they're in uncharted territory.
Right. And so then when we're writing in a dark entity or situation, let's say, where we really need to perfect, let's say a parent or a boyfriend, husband, that's got to be dark for us to perfect, do we write in a specific dark entity that we might have had in another lifetime, or is it always a crapshoot, so to speak?
Oh, it's a crapshoot.
So we never know what one we're going to get.
No, you could get a real archetypal one, or you could get a really, depending on the situation, you could really bring in the granddaddy.
And could we write in gray entities, life after
Oh,
death?
sure,
That's
absolutely.
okay, but when it comes to the dark, then all bets are off.
All bets are off.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You spoke of when a member of the family, mother, father, child, whatever, entity passes, that they can come back as a protector.
Oh, absolutely.
The incident that occurred last week with Bob and the car not blowing
Was
up.
Kathy.
Thank you. He thanked her because he thought it was.
Oh, and they have power. And you see, sometimes they have more power than even we do because they have recently been in physical form. So they can really punch holes in things and scream the gas is leaking on the engine. Please go to the door, mother, the dogs are cold. I mean, all kinds of things that you would never expect. Yes.
Okay, I want to go back to the cold fusion we were talking about in reference to lectures, I think 2 lectures ago, about the Andromedans. Is it possible that we could vibrate to the level that we were once when we first were coming down here as Andromedans? And my assumption, and it could be erroneous, is that we vibrate to that level in direct proportion to how much we really understand
Exactly.
the love of ourselves,
Transcend.
the love of Mother God. And
You
Father
bet.
God.
You bet. You can lift your vibration up even out of this earthly mortal coil, as the Bible says, but you can really transcend.
And in doing so, then we could create that cold fusion in ourselves.
Absolutely.
We could create it without.
Of course you could. Of course you could. Man seems to need all kinds of mechanized things, but man can create anything that he knows could be possible for himself, or even can conceive to be a probability, can create it within his own mind and make it a reality. We do it on the other side all the time. Anything we can think it, we can do it.
Then the second part of my question is, I'm wondering, okay, if the Andromedans look so differently from how we look now, how many generations removed? I mean, if we were to vibrate to that different level, we could recreate the same things we could do as Andromedans originally. So, I guess my question is how come we look so differently?
Andromedans are not that different looking. They're taller, they have huge eyes. But I think if you were to see them in a crowd, I'm not sure you'd pick them out to be that different. The crab nebulas now are quite different looking. They're very dark and short and sort of shuffly looking. Pleiades are very willowy looking. But I don't know if you'd pick them out. After a while, because you're very advanced, you might be looking longer than someone else would. But I don't know for sure if you just wouldn't think the person maybe would look odd. Mm-hmm. But there is no entities that we know in any galactic part of any of this universe that looks like anything you've seen on TV.
Buttons. Which is the button?
So no bug aliens.
Yeah. No bug-eyed aliens.
No
That's right.
bug-eyed aliens. None. As a reminder, what they've said in the past about aliens that look like they've got the glassy eyes and like the weird gray and green skin. She said like that's like form-fitting spacesuits.
Yeah.
Those are form-fitting spacesuits. And so if you take a spacesuit off, then you see a person that looks odd.
A little different than us.
Yeah.
Because we've evolved over time here, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And if you're really brave and they're open to it, ask for a meeting.
Yeah.
But find a remote spot and ask, probably try and find a remote spot in the middle of nowhere. But we have heard and talked about stories in the past of, you don't have to go out to the middle of Nevada or Arizona desert and hope and pray and set up fires to attract them, but because they show up, they can show up in the middle of the city too.
Yeah. Apparently they like to visit Skid Row because they can fit in.
Mm-hmm.
As like looking
disheveled and not so
odd,
well kept, and something that we wouldn't normally want to pay attention to.
Yeah, which is just wow, interesting. We've got some questions. So to the people in the Facebook chat, I don't see a whole lot of people logged on to the Facebook chat right now. So if you're wondering, like, is there anyone else listening? Yes, there are other people listening. There's a lot more people listening on the YouTube stream than on the Facebook stream right now. So don't worry, you're not crazy. Paula, I see you. I'm so happy. Paula and I know each other. We were in the same study group for years, and she went on to other adventures and other parts of the world. I love you so much, Paula, girlfriend. I miss you so much. I want to give you the biggest hug on the planet. Just saying. Okay, good. Moving on. But Paula asks, what is a child of the lie? Does anyone know? So do you, would you like to say something?
Yeah, well, I can if you'd like some. So
child of the lie is a very strange concept. Yeah.
Yes.
Very strange.
And this is what I recall. So if it sounds different than what you recall, tell me. I'm happy to back to we got to remember not to say Sylvia said, Francine said, but here's what we recall about what we've been told for these specific things. So child of the lie is a physical body that's been incarnated but doesn't have a specific
unassigned soul.
Thank you. So like you and I, we've come into a physical body. We have incarnated in a physical body. Our soul is here in full essence. The child of the lie does not. You can read more about that in either Journey of the Soul 3 or possibly in Good and Evil. Maybe
Good and Evil. Yeah, it's in the Good and Evil one.
That's our Journey in the Soul topic 5. And we'll so yeah, they don't have an essence. As we are, our soul, our essence is physically all the way into this physical body. They don't have one, and so guess what? They're manipulated by multiple entities from the left, on the left door.
Dark entities, yeah.
From dark entities, and so that's where it's sometimes it can be a challenge to track. Oh, who are these people? What are they? If it seems like their persona changes, from time to time, and they can be more challenging to read because there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. Yeah. The another thing to point out, a child of the lie can only happen when one incarnated dark entity has a child with another incarnated dark entity. So both parents have to be dark, evil people, and then they end up with this this basically kind of like robot sort of creation. And I encountered one of these people ever, and the amount of evil that was around this individual was just, it was incredible. It was palpable. My coworkers could feel it. They would drive into the treatment facility and just be like, "Oh my God, what is this feeling?" Like people would just like get out of the car and be like, and it was a very, very, very scary individual. And that person's personality would just change. It would just change from one evil to another, and it was very, very difficult to try to approach treatment for this person. Like I knew, and my other coworker who was also Gnostic, we both knew what was going on with this person. So that kind of helped with forming our treatment for the situation, to just focus on the person's family and helping the family understand that they are not responsible for what this for what this other person is doing, and that they need to focus on their own safety. But yeah, it was wild. It was very, 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 very wild situation. So that's a child of the lie. Thankfully, we don't have to interact with these people too often. The whole point is that if you meet someone who you feel is, evil or is mistreating you, is to get away from them. That is the whole point. We don't have to change anybody's minds. We don't have to do anything. Like the fight is just to step away and get yourself safe, get your family safe, and create as much distance as possible from people who are like that.
Cool.
Yep. All right. Then we had a couple other comments I want to read real quick. Josh shares that my fiance Kate was experiencing some dark entities, and I don't know what happened, but she couldn't sleep for a long time, and then saw her grandfather at her bed. And once she was able to sleep and she wasn't being bothered, then he left. That's really sweet. A really sweet protector.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Naomi says, can I ask, who was it that she was speaking of when she said that people spoke out? A message? An angel? A spirit guide? I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure what that's referring to. I'm not sure.
Sounds like something in the trance that I don't recall the situation. The circumstance. Yeah. Say that again. Ask that again.
Naomi says, can I ask, who was she speaking of when she said that people spoke out? A message? Was it an angel? A spirit guide? Oh, I think Francine was saying that, I hope I'm getting this. I hope I'm answering the part of the question right. She was saying, she gave some examples of how when a person, like a family member, passes away, they're still very fresh, and their energy is able to interact with our dimension.
Yes.
Sometimes easier than a spirit guide's, because a spirit guide's been on the other side for a long time. So the person who's still fresh is able to say a message like, "Hey, go let the dogs in. They're cold," and we're able to like get that a little bit easier.
Yeah, the energy gets across the veil, as it were, and we may pay more attention to from them, which is an interesting concept. That they're still closer to us from a dimensional standpoint. That's the way I interpret it. Is they're closer to us energy and dimensionally, because they've just crossed over, versus our guides and everybody else. They're on the other side of the veil doing what they can to help and help us in whatever way they can. So affecting what goes on around us. Why would my dad have 11 phone calls sent to me, on the day after the memorial? I'm like, that's the oddest.
That's so great. I love
Um,
that story.
but it's those brings back those ideas of it's why didn't my spirit guide do that kind of thing? Why don't well because we've got I think of it as we've got our lessons, we've got our charts to work on, and that's just was a helpful acknowledgement of a something. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, you can still ask for help from loved ones.
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
and my other 2 cents to this was
Yes.
at the very beginning there was a fun questions about spirit guides and what they can and where they are, what they can, what they can't do, kind of thing, and um, that's a great fun examples of a spirit guide's purpose.
That is a good example. You're right. I thought it's super interesting that they call themselves controls,
Yeah,
but the purpose, but the purpose is to try to control the chaos around us, so that it's not just chaos flying at us 24/7. Is what it sounds
yeah,
like.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's where we are. What's the
right.
environment we're in?
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Can you imagine the absolute madness and mayhem that our lives would be if we didn't have their intervention? That's where
Yeah,
I'm at. It'd
yeah.
just be madness. Um, Before we move on to the next segment, I want to say um, I am really passionate about these mentions of righteous anger. And so we were just listening to a little bit about that, like when is righteous anger good? How do you use it without wrecking your life? Is what it sounded like that person was asking, which is totally valid. I'm
Yeah,
like, I've been
yeah,
there. I've
yeah.
been there. Um, so yeah, so I thought it was interesting that Francine even then was saying that you want to get it out, like, but to have a check-in, just have a check-in with what your intent is. What is your intent behind getting this anger out? Is it to tear someone down? Then that's not good intent. Is it to ventilate and say, I'm not okay with this behavior? That's great. That's a great thing to say. So just give yourself enough time to think about, ask yourself the question, what is the intent behind me acting on this anger? And what I tell myself is, like, if I'm not sure what it even is at this moment, or I'm too frazzled, I'm just going to give myself a little bit of time so that I'm not going to bite anyone's head off, because that's something that I got to work on.
See,
Something that I
that's
actively work on. So, yeah.
and today, um, what was trying to set up on the conference call. Earlier today I was challenged with the conference call. I'm like, hello, why can't they've changed the menu again, so things aren't where they're supposed to be, things don't operate the way I'm expecting them to do, so I'm not, and I'm in a hurry to get this done. I'm like, hello, why are you changing this? What was who broke what, and well,
Mhm.
anyway, it wasn't broke, so they changed it anyway. So I'm trying to figure out this how to what was how why aren't I getting text messages when I create a meeting on our conference system? I don't even get emails when I set it up, but it's the checkbox says send an email, send a text message when we
Check.
but we only get it at 5 minutes beforehand, before the meeting starts. So I'm like,
Sure.
anyway, so and it took me over 5 minutes to figure out how to get a hold of tech support. And I finally said, okay, and by the way, when I didn't get a hold of tech support, it says, leave a comment. I said, great, I'm going to leave a comment. Well, so I was like, you know what?
Oh, mercy.
Anyway, I had to shorten it up and trying to make a long story longer. I had to I left a comment of, why does it take so long for me to get, figure this out and find out that I can't send something, I can't do what I want, and why is this encouraging me to maintain this subscription? Was my comment, and so I sent it off. Well, 2 minutes later, I go and try another thing, and something I thought said something else about, try this. I didn't read it as that.
Uh-huh.
I thought it said something else, so I didn't try that. I tried it and I got a step further, but it still didn't accomplish what I wanted. But so it's like, yeah, you got to stop and assess. And for me, it's like tolerance. You know, it's I got to overcome tolerance and or intolerance, as it were, and I get frustrated when I think I've seen something and I come back later and it says something else. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Hot mess. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad that you expressed your frustration. And it didn't sound like it was like, here's the thing. People are so afraid of saying something that's going to hurt someone else's feelings. And I think that that's a good audit, like a good check and balance. Yep. But it's not, but by saying I am frustrated and angry at this behavior is not the same thing as tearing somebody down.
Right.
Saying,
In
I
other
do
words,
not
stop
appreciate
saying
this
you.
behavior. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's doing what you can. What I do is instead of pointing at them with both fingers and saying you, it's about, here's the circumstance. This is what's upsetting. You know, instead of making accusations, it's more of expressing the what is wrong, what is the issue. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge to change that verbiage and not be I am, I want, or you did, you should. And no, it's here's the circumstance, here's the challenge. This is how it's affecting me. You know, can we resolve this?
Can we resolve this? Well, should we move on to part 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's move on to part 2. So this is the end of the
Thank you.
The end of this. Yes.
Yeah.
End of this trance. And then we start a new trance right after this. Okay, so notes. Some of the Roswell pictures were real. Astral catalepsy. No meditation is going to negate a bad diet. So change your diet. Okay. Darwin. Early cavemen near water had webbed hands and feet. Be careful of top ramen and be very careful of Olestra, which I think has been banned now. So she was right on this one. So, all right, here we go.
Yeah, this is from 1996, so this is pre everybody thinking, oh, I guess we should agree on that. But anyway, here we go. Take notes.
We don't know of any entities that look like that.
The book Communion had a visual that
it looks like a praying mantis.
Yeah. No way.
The guys that operated on me had cat eyes. I mean, they looked like cats to me.
Reptilian?
No. They looked normal. They just had huge eyes like cats. And so.
Were their pupils vertical slits?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Well, this was in the interpretation, but it never was scary.
No. No.
Very end.
Their eyes are always magnificently different. Some will have cat-like eyes or larger eyes, but they don't look like bugs.
No.
Yes.
Francine, they just had a show on television about the Roswell incident, and they showed some film that they said there's controversy over if it's truly the aliens that were there. Were they the aliens, the ones that they showed? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Yeah, Sylvia investigated that when she was with Channel 5 and Ann Miller in the Roswell incident. Yes, they were.
Very sad. That was a very sad film.
They still have the bodies preserved, too.
Well, they pretty much destroyed the one that they were working on, and they actually showed how they cut open and all of that.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible, but they do have one on ice.
Okay, and so their involvement, so that's pretty much how they look then, what we saw. So it is similar.
Yes.
The head seemed bigger.
Yes, but it's not, you might say that it was an encephalitis head or something, but you wouldn't, or you might even say that they might have a tinge of Downs, but you would not ever say this is not an humanoid figure with little three-fingered hands and gray bodies and funny-looking heads and no. Yes.
I have a question about guides again. You and Rahim have often said to try and be above the body and not
in the body.
And if you can get yourself almost out, can you have your guides like sort of lift you up
Pull you
in
out.
the arms and carry you around?
But see, that's what happens with you so many times, so many of you, and then you go into an astral catalepsy, and we get you half in and half out, and you're terrified, and then we can't get you half in or half out.
I find that when sometimes I'll be asleep and then I'll realize I have to wake up and I have to go down levels to look at my watch to see what time it is. But I mean, sort of, I'm trying to figure out how to get to a point where I'm like more like right here instead of in. So I'm like guiding my life and not getting so, and then just sort of taking it as it comes along and not worrying about the little things. So it.
Well, I think very much like Kim says, if you keep doing that, if you keep transcending and use the steps or anything you want, then eventually you'll transcend and be totally above the body. You won't have to come down by levels or swoosh in all at once and jerk yourself half silly to get in. Yes.
You said, I believe it was you, that if we don't eat correctly and the environment around us causes our cells to elongate to help protect itself, and that's what we think, or doctors think, are cholesterol collecting, but it's really the cells collecting. What can we do aside from diet and controlling our diet? Is there something that we can say specifically to release those elongated cells or stop those elongated cells?
Well, the only way you're going to do is to watch what you take into your body, because there's no other way to get them out. You can say you want the fat, the bad fat, the lipids, the triglycerides to come down to normal, and you want your cholesterol to be at least 180 to 200. Anything below that is dangerous. It's cancer time. But to keep asking that you do slough these off, but it also, you've got to have some modification about what you put in the hole in your face. Because there's no meditation that's going to take away from, you see, the tragedy is you're in such a thick molecular structure. Everybody is, whether your body is large or small or thin or heavy or whatever, you're in such a thick molecular structure. And whatever you happen to put in seems to hold you even more earthbound than it does, because it's weighted matter. And there's no way to get away from that, because you need the weighted matter to stay, but you don't need that much weighted matter, is what I'm saying. You get an overabundance of weighted matter, and then you get too sluggish, and that's bad for your health. It would be much better for some of you to be able to be in the water, because your buoyancy would be better. And I'm not saying that with tongue in cheek. I'm just saying that for the heaviness that a lot of you carry, you should be water mammals rather than land mammals. It would be easier for you, is what I'm saying. I'm not making a joke of this.
I understand that, but it's well said.
No, but
it's true.
You see, whales have blubber. Whales have tremendous cholesterol. I mean, they're all fat molecular system. And maybe it's because, and I don't know, but maybe it's because you're trying to flow through this sea of goo. And maybe the body is going back to sort of a primordial, not that you crawled out of the sea into the, there's no such a thing. Darwin was wrong. We love him dearly over here. And he gives lectures all the time, but he also realizes that he was wrong. But possibly in early man's time, because we do know that man was very webbed at one point. His fingers were webbed, his toes were webbed. And you'll see it duplicated even in medicine sometimes if you have webbed feet. That man could swim like a fish. Early cavemen living near the sea could swim like a fish. So maybe you're trying to get back to some of that morphic resonance of that cell memory, that you could carry more weight and swim and be buoyant, because you see, fat in water is buoyant. Fat on earth is devastating, because the cellular pull from the magnetic surface or underneath, the gravitational, is just awful on weighted matter. It's so hard on the body and the system. Yes.
When I was down here, I wouldn't have much time to cook, and I was eating over processed foods. And if you look at the ingredients, the more stuff in there you can identify. It's like it just sort of, it's like a lead weight in you, and maybe it blows you up.
Sylvia's son, Christopher, has a thing that he was eating top ramen. It splashed out of the bowl and went onto the white carpet. 3 carpet companies cannot get it up. It is fluorescent yellow, which means that I told Sylvia to tell him it has phosphorus in it. I am not going to get hyper now about what you eat, but you should look at your ingredients of some of this packaged food.
It's more than deadly. 3 syllables, it's no good.
It's deadly. And people who made the original top ramen never made it like this, with little packets of goo and strange things in it. Yes.
There's a new product coming out that's a fat.
Olestra.
Oh, please be very careful of that. Please, I'm so glad you brought that up.
What is it?
Olestra, please be careful of this fat substitute. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think there's any doctor that's going to sign, and if he does, he's in big trouble that signs his name to this. Because you're now going to start, or they are going to start trying to use different chemistries on your body. You've got enough chemicals that you're dealing with by eating every day, but to try to assimilate or try to destroy the fat in your body, that's also a deadly process. Because there's nothing to say that eventually the liver will give out from not even producing any fat at all. That's where it comes from. And you need fat to burn fuel. So you start using some of these things that have not been tested. I don't care, FDA. I've always felt that FDA really meant failure to do always. It really is a failure. The FDA will put something out, then decide it's bad and said, well, we really never sanctioned it anyway. So be careful when something is FDA. It isn't always approved by what we know it to be approval.
Yeah, already said
there was a new pill announced tonight it's a diet pill, and it's to help lower fat. And it's the first one they have worked on for the last 25, 30 years. About 40 years ago, they came out with a wonderful diet pill. Today it's called Speed. The new diet pill has got quite a nice long name to it. It has been tested on mice. It's now going on the market, particularly for women.
Mm-hmm. I'd leave it alone. I would really be very careful because no one in here is a mouse. And if somebody did see a fat mouse, they wouldn't care anyway. All right, I'm going to go now.
You were marvelous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, I mean, my observation, with diet, it's how much caffeine can we consume? The Francine was talking about. Oh, you're on mute, by the way. Francine was talking about diet, the diet pill from 50 years ago was literally what we think of as an amphetamine or speed. And nowadays, I don't recall what the long one she was referring to, but yeah, I look at it as, look how many caffeine, what's the word? Caffeine boosted drinks we have. It's not just coffee, not just tea. It's all these, whether they're sweetened or they're artificially sweetened just to get you to drink caffeine, enhanced drinks that we've got.
Yeah. The things that I've recall them talking about with caffeine is that like coffee isn't bad, but you do want to be mindful of moderation. That too much caffeine will start degrading someone's insulin levels. And so if someone is, has some blood sugar concerns or diabetes concerns, they should really proceed with caution with regards to caffeine was my takeaway from that. But I know for me right now, ever since Raheem mentioned green tea, I've been diligently consuming green tea every day, and just being mindful to also have protein in the process to keep blood sugar levels, so you don't have that huge spike and drop and whatnot that comes from.
Oops, you're coming. Hold on here. There you are.
Okay, and we've got a spam bot.
Oh, really?
Oh dear, yes.
That's entertaining.
It is hilarious. Okay, so
we jumped off the air for a moment, or you jumped off, and now you're back on. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. So another thing with regards to phosphorus, I know that phosphorus is a trace mineral that is found in many foods. I've never heard them talk about phosphorus before, so I'm going to do more research myself to see kind of what the deal is. But only at a time that I recall.
But the point is it stained the carpet, and you can't get it out of the carpet. So what does that tell you? What's that going to do inside of you?
Your body. Ugh.
That's and going back to I've peanut butter. I mean, just simple ingredients. Peanut butter. You go get the fresh peanut butter and look at the contents in it, and then go get your commercial consumer brands and look at the difference in ingredients. The one that's personally scares me is the hydrolyzed peanut oil and the palm oil. Some of those use palm oil to help stabilize and maintain it, solidify it, because you let regular peanut butter just sit and you get half-inch layer of oil on top, which a little bit of effort, you can undo that. I always turn the jar upside down and leave it for a week, and it puts it on the other end. Anyway, that's another one of my creations.
Interesting.
I don't serve it out of that jar. I turn it over and put it in another plastic container. I get it out so I can stir it easier. Whip it up into, and mix that oil in. Then I put it in the fridge and it stays. But that's my 2 cents.
Nice. Good hack.
But, again, look at the ingredients between fresh peanut butter and the commercial consumer brands. A lot of fun stuff. And it's we got to be a bit cognitive of what we're consuming. I think it's doable.
It is doable.
You just got to be selective, and fortunately my palate says, okay, I like these these particular items, and I don't like all the fresh stuff.
I know that the best that I've ever felt in my life was when I took this very, very seriously, and on top of it, I wanted to try out one of those diets. So I tried out the paleo diet because it seemed like it was very in line with it seemed like it was in line with everything else that we've talked about. So I just I hit it really hard, and I felt so amazing. It was just an incredible difference. So, this stuff does matter. It does matter. It does have an impact on your energy levels. And you're worth it. You're worth it. So the trick is you got to find some healthy ways to still satisfy you when you have an urge to snack. That's the
pizza
biggest thing for me. Yeah. Give me that pizza.
There's my recent one was our store has the cauliflower crust pizza.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a fun
Yeah, I
one.
like it too.
Anyway, that was a. And I mean, what came to mind was we have canine teeth. Canine teeth are designed to eat
Eat meat.
eat proteins.
Hmm.
Yeah, eat meat, fish, and those kind of proteins. I recall one of Sylvia's comments was about, yes, she likes to eat healthy, but once in a while she just loves to have one of her steaks.
Yep. It's true. It's true. Um, anyway, so just look for substitutes. Start there. That's what I did for myself. Because I was like, I know what snacks I do like, so let me just try to find a healthier substitute for that, and I'll buy that. And so that's what I ended up doing that worked for me. So, do you have a question about from Naomi asking if we'd ever heard any comments about things that support the liver? Let me, as we listen to our last segment, let me look up in my notes and see if I wrote anything down about liver, because I want to see if I can point you in the right direction.
I'm trying to think of the phrase. There was sort of a funny phrase that went with it, but emotion is like the emotion is the liver is like the seat of the emotion, not your heart. Your heart doesn't control your emotion. It's the liver. I think has the way I recall how things operate. That has the most influence on your emotions. So, chocolate. What does chocolate do? Chocolate coats your liver and gums it up, so it can't do its job.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of people scream. But what can you do to be liver healthy? Healthy liver, intake, and what's going to help keep your liver operating properly.
Yeah. Well, I'll be happy to look that up as we listen to our next segment. And,
Cool.
Cool. And also, yeah, Olestra ended up having a lot of side effects after it came out. So Francine was right on that one. Let me see here about other. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to share.
Except for the bot.
Except for the bot. I kicked the bot out. Get out of here. All right. Okay. Shall we move on to our last segment?
Sure. This is a new.
Okay.
I'll let you introduce it.
Okay, it's a brand new trance, and we are going to talk about.
Who's talking?
Francine is talking, and the trance date is on February 5th, 1996.
I hope I'm going to argue that point.
Oh.
Because I'm just double checking my notes. That's Rahim.
Oh, it's Rahim.
Yep.
Oh, it's Rahim. Okay.
That's why I wanted to sort of what's the right word? Explain. Hey, we get to listen to Rahim.
Okay, I'm glad you double checked then. My notes were wrong. Okay. Listening to Rahim, and he is talking about the phenomenon of ego. It's not wrong to be proud of yourself or pump yourself up for a future task. Followers can get lost in another person's ego, causing identity crisis. And there are no introverts on the other side.
That's a fascinating concept.
That's fascinating. Yes. Can't wait to hear more.
Okay, fun. Well, let's. I think I'm ready to do this. Here we go.
Here we go.
Pleasure to see you, my friend.
It's a pleasure to be here. I want to discuss the very mysterious phenomena called ego. Ego has played a big part in all of mankind. It has played a devastating role. It has played a fascinating role. It has played a building role. It has played a destruction role. I think when Sylvia has said many, many times is when you see someone with an ego, then they do not have one. Anything that is flaring and pompous and above itself means that there lies in the breast of that person and in the mentality of that person a tremendous amount of insecurity in order to overcompensate for what they do not have. This is no condemnation, but I think we should address it as an affliction. And I think you should look at it as an affliction and guard it very cautiously. It is great to be proud of works that you've done. It is not insincere to be proud of works that you will do. It is not wrongful to be proud of the things that you know that probably you have a possibility for, and begin to pump yourself up for that some very close or far off day when you can complete this, whatever it might be. When it goes out of whack, it becomes a gathering place. It becomes a collection. It becomes a holding on and not letting go. And this can be a collective consciousness or it can be a one-on-one situation. To garner, to dispose of your own intellect, to garner followers just for the sake of your own attributes is a wrong. To do a job well and put it behind you and keep on walking is the right ego structure. To want to be appreciated is a fair decision for the ego to make. Every human being needs appreciation. Salivating at the feet of someone is disgusting. No one in history, no one from Christ to Siddhartha, to anyone who has been of prominence really appreciates that kind of salivation, as we call it. Not salvation, it's salivating. It is the ineptness of the person also that is the follower that sometimes becomes lost in someone else's ego structure, which is desperate. Because this is what breaks up relationships, this is what breaks apart churches, organizations, and the likes of which have divided countries. It seems whenever there is a Shangri-La, a Camelot, a perfection of spirituality, we find that there begins to be the darkness of derisiveness. The derisiveness means I will put myself head and shoulders above everyone because my knowledge is greater than. Does that mean that we want to, like religion, stamp out individuality? No. But the problem becomes is one man's soup does not necessarily belong to you. So be sure that your soup is your own soup. Be sure that your stew has been only garnered by yourself. And then if you so wish to divide it amongst people, that's fine. But what we see happening to so many of you is that you give away too much soup. And then you have nothing left for yourself. Thus starts the downward spiral of the identity crisis. Now, I know that in your world, you have words like codependency. You have words like enablers. You have words like borderline. The way that you can tell, though, the truest form of a borderline is they cannot be alone. They cannot ever be alone. Seems so simple, doesn't it? They cannot be alone with their thoughts. They cannot be alone for any length of time. And if they are, their thoughts are constantly turned towards, let's say, the beloved. Now, in any love affair with anything, whether it's spirituality, religion, your children, your husband, your fiance, the other person in your life, a belief, there is an infatuation period in which it becomes enamoring, endorphin filled, no sleep, no eating. And then comes the time of the test. And that is the everyday things that people have to go through, the living in and out of, the seeing things as they really can be. The varnish wears off, and people do not stay with each other because they have put their own ego base on that other person, and they have not lived up to that. And so for that, the person has been literally destroyed. And I think that's what Sylvia was trying to touch on a little bit the other day. Please be something to yourself first, and then to all others, you may be able to be something to them. And I think it's very valid when she says that say what you are not, and then out of that will come what you are. Because when you begin to decide that you're not mean, you're not hateful, you're not deceptive, and you must look at your motives very carefully. And then from that comes, then I must be pretty good. Because if you negate all the negative things, then guess what comes out of that? The flower of positivism. The I am should be there. The I am is directly from God. And we see all of us as we come from the sparks of the divine as complete and total. There is no ego structure as we know it. It only seems to descend upon you in a mantle form of thick goo as you enter this plane. And it is a very hard thing to fight because you're constantly scraping at it. Now, what is the formula to get out of your own ego? I think the term you have is get out of yourself. If you get out of yourself, the I am seems to know how to take care of itself. If you're always directing yourself towards other people, teaching, talking, helping, doing, regardless whether you're introverted or not, I have a real knowledge that no one is introverted. I don't care how many of you hold your hands up, I will tell you you are not. You may be quiet, you may keep your own counsel, but you're not an introvert. You may be forced to be. We do not even know the word of introversion on our side, my side. We don't know it. It's non-existence. It's a non sequitur. Only we see this extroversion or introversion, as you say. I guess if you wanted to put it on a more even plane, you would say we were all extroverted. Now there's some that are more quieter, going about research at any given time, but anyone can get up and speak, anyone can get up without fear, anyone can paint, draw, run, jump, do athletics. No one is, if they so choose, no one is limited by the bias of what they've been taught, and that's what you have to fight in this life.
That was too short. I was waiting for more.
I know. Oh gosh, I love this topic though.
The challenge, for me, and the concept of what he's talking about. The challenge for me is, being something to yourself. When many of us have been taught not to be yourself. That's one, relearning what your likes and dislikes are, what you like to do. And when you're on your own, there are some people that like to go to Disneyland or go to amusement park on their own. I'm like, that's an odd concept, but that's, to me, that's their, being for themselves, allowing themselves to be. In the challenge, I think, is, what's that balance? What's my truth? What's my balance of for me versus for them.
Yeah, that's so true. I have felt my whole life. Okay, this is probably here's an unpopular opinion. I'm going to share my unpopular opinion with this. I have felt almost my whole life like I did not really believe in introversion and extroversion as being like helpful things that exist. Because I'm like, well, how much of this is just that people have been conditioned and like beat up by life? How much of this is that people just aren't around the right group of people to have fun with? How much of, because when you are around the right group of people, you are having a blast. You will stay up all night long and you will do anything to go have fun when you are with the right group of people. And for some people, they've got a wider group. They've got a wider net with that. Other people, it's a little bit more selective. And I don't think that that like introversion and extroversion, like as concepts, captures this with accuracy. That's always been my take on it anyway. Because I'm like, I don't know, man. Because a lot of people will come up to me and say like, "Oh, you're an introvert," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then other people will be like, "Oh, you're such an extrovert." I'm like, "Okay."
Well,
and I don't describe to it. Like,
Right.
oh, you're INFJ. Like, okay, I don't describe to it.
There's a fun, just like, left hand, right hand is being handy dexterous. There's a fun expression, and I was trying to recall it of the hybrid of introvert and extrovert, ambivert. I think that was the fun
Ambivert.
term. Yeah, an
Yes.
ambivert or ambivert,
Introvert with extrovert skills. Someone told me
Yeah.
I was that one time. I was like, all right,
or vice versa.
fine, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm just me.
Ambivert. Yeah.
Ambivert,
Anyway,
omnivert, ambivert.
that's like handy dexterous.
Mhm.
Where was I? Oh, anyway, but fun. Yeah, I that's now people may disagree, and it's like, okay,
Fine. It's
there are
absolutely
some
fine.
people that need to be quiet to get re-energized, and some people do get
It's
energized
fine.
by being active, and
Which is also fine.
yeah. But
Wherever you're at is okay.
but when
I just don't see myself that way.
listening to Raheem reminding me of what the other side is like, there's too much activity to be introverted. That's
Too much activity.
My
Yeah.
thought and feeling about it is,
God
there's
is
too
there to
much
recharge
going
your
on.
battery so
Right.
that it takes that out of the equation. But here's the thing, like we've always been told, like in Gnosticism, that when you are around like-minded people, people that you love, you naturally feel a welling up within you of your battery being recharged by God, because by connecting with other people, you're also connecting with spirituality and with God's energy, and so that's how, if that's like the natural way that we recharge anyway, by spending time with other people or in spending time with ourselves in a way that allows our energy to spiritual energy to recharge. I don't know, it's so much the same as like the idea of just being on the other side and God is immediately right there, present all the time. So there's no need for it. Yeah.
Well, it's that's why we want to as best we can, or bring forward that recollection of who we are on the other side. Bring it in here.
Yes.
It
Yes.
helps us squelch the noise of our physical influences.
Yes. Interesting topic.
Yeah.
I loved listening to Raheem talk about how ego gets warped also. I thought that was really, really useful, because I think that that some people are really, really afraid of like leaving humility behind and like allowing themselves to feel uplifted
Right.
and feel proud of themselves. Or like, well, if I'm proud of myself, does that mean that I'm on the path to becoming a
Well, that's one of the isn't pride one of the 7 deadly sins?
Yeah, we're told it's
That's
a
been
seventh
pounded
deadly
in.
sin.
It's
Yes.
so it's
Told it's dangerous. Yeah.
it's being, appreciative of yourself. Not, you know what? I have a challenge with understanding the concept of the negative side of it versus being appreciative, proud of what you've done. It's the prideful thing that I need to sometimes be reminded of. What is that's because there's a negative aspect about pridefulness versus, being proud of yourself and proud of who you are.
Yes. Yes. It's when you cut yourself off from your intellect is what he described, which makes a lot of sense because at that point, because when you think about people who are prideful in a way that annoys you, think about it. They never let any information in. If you try to argue with them, they're like, no, I'm always right. Like, no, it's my way or the highway. No, 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 no. So like they are shutting down any sort of intellectual engagement, any sort of intellectual dialogue. So that makes a lot of sense that that's where the fault starts. And then what ends up becoming the substitute is having followers and people who are going to, kiss
don't
you.
want to think for themselves and think that this person's thinking better than they do.
Exactly.
So, yeah, nobody's thinking.
Yeah. So so my takeaway from that is I'm going to remind myself to, like, as I go forward in moments where I could be proud of myself for something, is to make sure that I'm keeping myself grounded with my intellect and keeping myself open to dialogue with the world and people. Keep open to dialogue so that it's not delving into that realm of worrying about getting people's approval. Which I've got the rejection theme, so I'm like very, very tuned into trying to shut that down as soon as possible. If I notice my thoughts wandering about other people's approval, I'm like, we're going to stop that right in its tracks.
Yeah.
Not going down that rabbit hole.
That's
you.
That's a fun point about rejection. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't need people's approval.
Where are we? We just
meditation time.
So my gosh. There you go. For those of you that want to participate, find yourself a comfortable place to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap. Somewhere in here, there's a... when I stare at my hands, they look even, but I look at them in the camera, in the monitor here, and they look like they're doing this. I'm like, what is wrong with this? Anyway, sorry. Find yourself that fun place to sit. Take a moment to quiet your mind, and for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us. But by all means, come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand. And for the rest of us, you know what? After all that fun noise, I gotta go find it. We're gonna do that one. And cool. All right, here we go.
Find yourself a comfortable place to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and the body. Now, close your eyes when you are ready.
The Golden Key. Affirm the following. I shall never be swayed from my true spirituality. It is beautiful, blessed, loving, and filled with all goodness. To relinquish this blessing would be to turn to ignorance. Carry its golden key with you pressed into your chest. It has been bestowed upon you by our blessed Mother Asna.
Feel that you can pay witness to what you believe. And please pay witness to the God of love. Speak of him often to those who may not want to hear. Not that you necessarily want to convert them, but stop the onslaught of pain and terror that is brought on in the name of God. Stand in witness to spiritual beauty and truth. This is a golden key. Nothing you will ever know is any closer to the truth or any more precious than this. Carry this golden key of knowledge with you. You carry a golden sword and now a golden key as well. You move down into the mundane life, knowing that you can reach the peak of spirituality at any time you wish. You can come back to this blessed height. Speak to God and be with him any time you choose. There are no certain times of the day when he is tired or less receptive to you. He's at your beck and call, residing not only in you, but outside of you. Be free of what you call sin and guilt, totally neutralized in your own beauty. Amen.
Now, on the count of 3, come all the way back. 1, 2, 3. Fully and totally alert.
That's a
Witness to the God of love.
I had forgotten about that meditation. The key. I was
lovely.
envisioning this huge gold key on like on a like a cord or something, and then it was like placed on my chest.
Cool.
As like a emblem or symbol or man, I had forgotten about that one. Fun.
Neat. Very neat.
Let's see. We did that. So yeah, if you have any questions about what we share, feel free to post in chat, except for the bots. Or you can email questions to kat@novus.org or tom@novus.org. Let's see. We appreciate the listeners, both live and on demand. You can show your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by doing some fun things like sharing, promoting, liking, subscribing. Check out our websites, novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. We are on Facebook at Society of Novus Spiritus, Sylvia Browne Group, New Spirit Radio Show, and several study groups. And yes, we do occupy YouTube. You can find us at Society of Novus Spiritus, and we'll look for Chris Dufresne at Psychic Awareness. He's been doing a fun regular Sunday afternoon question and answer. So a lot of people getting some help from him. And yeah, by all means, if you've got some something that just you're not getting the answer to something, make an appointment, get a call. Because man, talk about thorough. You're
very thorough.
Yeah, very thorough. So have some questions ready, but also it's like get ready for a fire hose. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, we can if you want to get something, donate and get something in return. Start a study group. You can learn more about it by going on our website, novus.org. If you want to get something and donate, go to Amazon Smile and tell them you want to donate your Amazon Smiles to Society of Novus Spiritus. Yes, church services. You can watch Sunday service on Facebook and YouTube. I just posted recently another episode, something like that. You know what? Oh, that's right. And the next one is going to be January, I think, 8th, or the second Sunday, not the first Sunday, because first Sunday is the 1st. So I'll post one on the second Sunday of January. Let's see. And yeah, we're doing classics of Larry and Sylvia. If you want to participate in the special Zoom service, put your email on the website, and you'll get a notice, an invitation to participate in Reverend Ellen Schloss' special Sunday Zoom service. Now is the special prayer ceremony, the novena. For those of you that are new, there's a phrase that we all say together. And it's about, and we're going to say it 3 times together, and then I'll tell you afterwards. As I lead, I'll mention what we want to ask for after each time we say the phrase 3 times. That phrase is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, we'll say that 3 times, and yes, I do count, because man, that's a challenge. Sometimes it's like, where am I? But what I want us to do is all of us encourage, regardless of when you're listening to this, that we are in the same, whether we're out in the universe, out in space somewhere, or in the same room someplace, just visualize all of us together. We're all holding hands and making a big, huge circle so that our energy goes out and is amplified. We amplify each other. So we get started here. So just visualize we're all holding hands together, and here we go. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay, here we go. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for others. Okay, and the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon, shining for those other people seeking this spiritual knowledge. And of course,
Amen.
take a moment. Take a moment and think of something that you're appreciative of, something you've done or something that was done for you. hang on to that. Say, oh, I'm appreciative of that. We want to carry things of appreciation around with us. And of course, to continue with that, show your appreciation to Francine and Raheem for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. And Sylvia for coming to this insane asylum in the universe to start this movement and for showing us how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. And of course, Asna for helping us and protecting us while we're here. And Father God for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience and learn and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Appreciate Bob Ingold for helping with some of the graphics and some of the preparation for audio, and Sammy and Javon for our wonderful intro-outro music. For the show, writing, setup, and hosting is MIT Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now prayer by Sylvia. If I can find where I put those. Where'd I go? Here we go. Let's try that and that.
Winter Solstice Prayer Midday. Dear Asna, we ask to receive your light, and we ask that you imbue us with grace, honor, and loyalty. We ask that you be omnipresent in our lives throughout this year and the years that follow. We ask that we, your daughters and sons of this earth, follow in the path of our Lord Jesus Christ, and through your light experience for God our Father. Keep us protected throughout the year. Give us the grace to face all darkness and adversity. We ask that your golden sword protect us from all our enemies. Amen.
And Kat's going to tell us.
Happy Asna's Feast Day, everybody. It's tomorrow. Please remember to write all of your petitions to Mother God and say thank you to her for being there for all of us. We love you. Good night.
As if you were not there, all praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You've planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above my